Well, guys, I've got some good news for you all. Alligator Alcatraz is not long for this world. Not at all. You see, a judge has ordered, a local judge in the county of Orlando County, I guess, or sorry, not Orlando, Miami County, has ordered that Alligator Alcatraz must be shut down and emptied out. Conservatives and Republicans have tried to fight this, but with surprisingly little public support. Even in Florida, there's been very little public support for keeping Alligator Alcatraz open, and I want to give a little context to that to the progressives who are no doubt going to be confused as to why conservatives don't even like these detainment centers. And on top of that, I want to let you all know how the anger towards this practice has actually still had an impact even under an administration that is so unwilling to hear our protests. Now, first, something you need to understand is that Donald Trump was really popular during the election for almost one single reason alone. It wasn't any of the culture war nonsense, it was the economy. Americans had been convinced the economy was in the worst state it had ever been in due to Biden's policies, and that going back to Trump was the only way to fix it. One of the biggest economic policies Donald Trump presented as an idea as to how he could fix America's economy, stop the inflation, lower unemployment, bring jobs back, and raise wages. The way he thought he could do this, or I should say the way he promised his supporters he could do this, was by removing... And so the vast majority of non-immigrant descendant Americans hear this and they're like, I guess these immigrants really are taking our jobs and our opportunities and our slots in colleges and our medical practices and yada, yada, yada. You see a lot of them talking about how, why do we allow foreign doctors to open practices in America? Why can't we have American doctors doing that instead? They're taking up space. The fact is, there's a reason why, if you could pick any country in the world to receive the top tier medical care from, no, money is no, object to you, you would go to America. All the rich, wealthy people from around the world go to America and pay out of pocket for the world's best medical care. There's a reason for that, and it's because we take all the best doctors from all around the world, they all move here, they all set up practices here, and they provide us the best care in the world and get the best pay of any, medical position in the world. So, things like that don't really hold up to any scrutiny, but nonetheless, Americans don't think about things that way. Americans think two-dimensionally about politics, not three-dimensionally. So in their minds, it's simply native-born Americans, who surely must be perfectly up to snuff for the job, are losing opportunities to foreigners. And they might not even hate people that are from other countries, not necessarily as a rule, but they grow to resent what they're doing in their mind. And when you grow to resent a group of people for something you think they're doing that they're not, you've already opened yourself up to believing delusion. And from there, it's a very dangerous path into radicalization. Nonetheless, though, Republicans were convinced that we had to get these immigrants out of the country in order to restore all of these opportunities for native-born Americans. What they believed was going to happen is that ICE and other authorities would go around, taking illegal immigrants out of American prisons and deporting them straight to their countries of origins, or at least somewhere that's not America. Finding all the illegal immigrants out on the streets, working in under the table job positions and taking our gerbs and whatnot, and just mass deport them. Instantly, no detention, no holding, none of our tax dollars going to build multi-million-dollar facilities dedicated to housing these people, feeding them, and providing them shelter while we figure out where to send them. That's not what they voted for. They're voting for teams of secret police picking these immigrants up and putting them straight on a plane out of the country. No court date. They didn't want these people having a court trial either, because as many of them will say, they're immigrants, they shouldn't benefit from American rights, from the Constitution. And so even among Trump supporters who believe all those things, they don't want these detention facilities. It's a middle stop where these people are still in our country and not gone. The Republicans want them gone, and they want them gone now. So our tax dollars going to keep these facilities open and to build new ones, it's just not a popular policy among the people who voted for Trump for his immigration policy. He's doing it wrong. which is why there's not really any, like, big MAGA crowd out there protesting the downfall of Alligator Alley, saying, keep it open, because they don't really see Alligator Alcatraz, not Alligator Alley, that's a different part of the Everglades, Alligator Alcatraz as a, they don't see it as, like, a thing that is conducive to achieving that mass deportation goal they have. It's just a waste of money in their minds. So all you've got are a bunch of progressives protesting its existence. You've got judges calling for it to be shut down immediately and emptied out, and that is exactly what's happening. The Republicans they have their hands tied. In Florida, of all places. I gotta say, this is a much more uplifting story than I thought it was going to turn out to be, especially since it seemed like the Republicans were just gonna say, lol no, to the judge, but now things are looking kind of crazy, and there's a lot of stories coming out the last couple days from Alligator Alcatraz. In fact, there might have been, like, an uprising of some kind. I saw some stuff about that, so let's dive right on into it.
Leaked emails from a top state official say Alligator Alcatraz will be empty in a matter of days. Republican lawmakers are vowing to fight a federal judge's decision to wind down operations at Alligator Alcatraz. Channel 9's Giovanni Diaz live outside of the Orange County Jail. And Gio, the state has appealed this decision.
Yeah, Martha, that's because they say the state needs this space to house undocumented immigrants, because otherwise jails like this one behind me are now getting overcrowded.
Nearly 2 months since Alligator Alcatraz opened up, operations around here are set to wind down. It comes after a federal judge.
Good God, look at all of that Everglades land they're just fucking up. I mean, granted, this is an airstrip that's already existed out in the Everglades, but, like, there's a lot of things that having this many people present in one place causes, and it's not good for the environment, especially not the Everglades. If you guys are interested, by the way, you probably aren't, but for the small percentage of you guys who find this interesting, highly recommend you look up the River of Grass documentary on YouTube. It's really good. Big old documentary about the Everglades, explains how unique it is, all of its beautiful sort of self-filtering and cleaning systems, the different species and, the food web of it all, and how, important but fragile it is and how much it needs our help. Very good documentary. Highly recommend you check it out. Not now, but when you get some time.
Agreed the facility could be harmful to the native land and wildlife in the area.
We keep us safe.
Advocacy groups had been looking into legal ways to stop Alligator Alcatraz even before it started housing detainees back in July. The governor promises to fight back.
We're ready to help. We want to continue to help. We have
Meatball Run, mouthing about the judges stopping his little camp. I'm so sorry, Ron. You're not Trump. Trump supporters, they don't want these camps. They don't want them. They want the immigrants gone. You're Meatball Ron. You'll always be Meatball Ron. He's not gonna shake your hand. He's not gonna tell you you're a good boy, Ron. He's not gonna do it. Hey, relax, guy.
That is a good, I do prefer that impression of Trump better than like the actual Trump impression.
Hey, guy.
It's so fucking good.
have to continue with this mission. It's important, and ultimately it's going to be good for the state of Florida.
Still, emails exchanged between the state's emergency management director, Kevin Guthrie, and a faith leader in South Florida show Guthrie expects Alligator Alcatraz to be empty within days. The department was responsible for building the facility in the first place. Now, Democratic lawmakers are cautiously calling this a win, while Republicans say it was a political move.
The fight isn't over yet. Right now, the state of Florida is following the federal order and is depopulating the facility. But to be clear, the legal fight is not over.
I'm going to do everything I can to fight them, to make sure we can deport them, whether it's through Alligator Alcatraz or straight on the plane home.
That is a spot-on South Park impression. Well, Alan Smith, funnily enough, I've been doing that impression of Saddam Hussein's South Park representation since I was 10, maybe younger. So I've got that impression that they later repurposed as Trump's voice down perfect. Yeah. I was very thrilled when I found out that was the voice they used for Trump, because I can do that voice real good. Because that was Saddam Hussein's voice in South Park for so long.
So here's the thing. The claim that the state needs Alligator Alcatraz has been challenged by advocacy groups, especially
Not even just advocacy groups and left-wing groups, by the way. Conservatives don't like this. They're calling it a unnecessary middleman, has been the common term used. Like, this is just U.S. tax dollars going to the immigrants, which is exactly what they didn't want. Only now it's actually happening. Now millions of U.S. tax dollars are unironically being spent directly on feeding, housing, clothing, etc., these immigrants in a way where it wasn't before, and it wouldn't be if they just sent them straight out of the country, as evil as that would be. But that's what Trump's own supporters voted for. Like, not even his own supporters like this option. It's like Trump, or I guess I should say Meatball Ron, chose the middle ground fence-sitting option, and now no one's happy with him. They're destroying the Everglades, but thankfully the concentration camp is being shut down, and Trump illegally tried to deport Lara of Cat's Eye, but didn't succeed. You know, we do have some silver linings to the situation at the end of the day, but things are still hell, don't get me wrong.
Because the governor announced another massive detention facility dubbed Deportation Depot in North Florida.
Now they're trying to make Deportation Depot up north. We talked about that recently. Of course, a reference to the fact that a lot of immigrants go to Home Depot parking lots and offer themselves, they're like their service, like they'll offer their like work or themselves as like some kind of like, you know, position of, it could be any job that has to do with like building something, building a house, like working on a deck or something. And they'll be like, hey, you want an extra pair of hands? I mean, I'll work for cheap. And it's like, you know, I'm moving tomorrow, and I've got a couch that's heavy as fuck, and I've low-key been stressing about how I'm going to carry that fucking thing on my own. You know what? Here's $25. Let's go handle that fucking couch right now. It's a nice thing to have, you know? It's cool. You know, you're like, it's almost like a more original, like, community-driven kind of, like, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. It's like a low-tier business, right? However, you know, they've turned that into something dark. You know, they raid the Home Depot parking lots now, ICE does, and I guess they're going to call it Deport Depot to make it some kind of cruel reference. Anyway. Here's an example of how activists have been rallying outside of Alligator Alcatraz to protest it. I don't think this is actually outside of it. I think this is actually in the Capitol.
Protesters gathered outside of Congresswoman Laurel Lee's office today in Tampa, demanding better treatment for Alligator Alcatraz detainees. A family is claiming their husband and father is being denied medical care at the facility. News Channel 8's Capitol Bureau reporter Mackenzie Laporte has that story.
Civic activist groups are concerned that detainees at Alligator Alcatraz are not receiving proper medical attention. This comes at a time when the facility is under scrutiny over whether or not the detention center will be closed down for good.
He went to work and he never came back.
According to his family, Josue Galvez, a Tampa father and husband who was detained and taken to Alligator Alcatraz, is claiming to have been denied medical care at the facility.
Galvez? Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker reference? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
According to his family, Josue Galvez, a Tampa father and husband who was detained and taken to Alligator Alcatraz, is claiming to have been denied medical care at the facility during a COVID outbreak.
If the conditions are not humane, we're not going to tolerate it. And we're demanding the elected officials to do something about it.
I promise the conditions are not humane. Do you want me to tell you how I know they're not humane? I'm a Floridian. 21 years of my life. Grew up in Florida. Let me tell you something. If you go camping in Florida, that is to say, if during this time of year, or the last few months when this thing has existed, you go outside, or you go into a non-air controlled, temperature controlled space, and you try to live your life, you will choose death after not too long. The heat, the humidity, and the bugs. Those three right there will lead you to genuinely want to die. There are some nights in Florida, when you have air conditioning, where it is still so hot and musty that, like, you have to throw off all your blankets. You can't have any blankets on you. Like, you want to have the kind of, like, the feeling of the soft blanket over you, it helps you sleep, but you can't, because it'll turn you into a fucking, like, you'll sweat through your mattress. It's that bad. Now, I want you to imagine you're living in one of those tents with like 500 other people, 1,000 other people per tent, so much extra body heat, all that Florida humidity, Florida heat. You know it's not climate controlled beyond some fans, maybe. You know they don't have those... Do you want to know what they use in prisons, like actual physical buildings? There are like minivan-sized, massive AC units, several of them on the top of prison buildings to cool all those people and to keep the whole facility cold. That is like millions of dollars worth of equipment, at least hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, and it needs to be on a rooftop or at least on a like solid foundation, and it has to be installed by and maintenance by special people. They do not have that going on there. At best, they have fans and like window shaker AC units going, maybe. It's probably not climate controlled at all. It is hell in those tents. I promise you, it is fucking hell there, and has been for months. You do not know how bad it is till you've experienced it. And just when you think that, like, your skin having been soggy from sweat for days straight, never a moment of, like, dry, cool skin, just hot, soggy, wet, sweaty skin for days straight, when that, like, when you think that's the worst part of it, and your skin is, like, kind of, like, melting a little bit, like your skin starts to like peel, you know, it's bad. It's bad. When you think that's the worst part of it, this happens when you go camping in Florida, but mind you, it's the experience. When you think that's the worst part, then the bugs come. Because what happens is the mosquitoes, they bite your legs and they bite your arms, they bite anything they can get access to. And your sweaty, soggy, like borderline melting skin starts to welt over and itch from the mosquito bites and the spider bites and stuff. And so you start itching, and you will rip unbelievable amounts of flesh off of your legs and arms, and you will see streams of blood, like long lines of blood going down your legs, because like the sweat and the like sogginess of your skin and the bug bites and the scratching the bug bites, it's a combo for ending up so fucked up looking by the end of it, and it doesn't feel good. Like, I know this sounds like so over the top right now. Oh, and then you've got open wounds. Yeah, I know this sounds like so over the top, but that is what camping in Florida is like. Like 2 days in the Florida summer out in the wilderness, no AC to take a break in, that's what happens to you. It's more or less like being in the Amazon rainforest or the jungle, just any jungle. You know, you're like, your skin starts to turn soggy. That's the best way I can describe it. It's awful. It is not humane conditions, I promise you, and that's probably only the top of the list.
Specifically calling on Congresswoman Laurel Lee to help, who is now a co-sponsor of the new Alcatraz Act, which aims to ensure states like Florida have the support they need to detain.
I live in the Caribbean, and when the power goes out, it's impossible to sleep. Then you know what I'm talking about, Eamon One Eye. What's even worse about it is Alligator Alcatraz is in the Everglades. The Everglades is not exactly the hottest part of Florida, but it's not the coolest part of Florida either. Like, if it was right up on the coast, you might get some sea breeze going on, but this is pretty deep into the Everglades, like real deep inland. So this is not a warm part of Florida. This is like the Georgia climate part of Florida. If you guys don't know, the Florida-Georgia line, I've been there 3 times. Each time during the summer, it wasn't as humid as Florida, but it was 113 degrees to 115 degrees every time I went to the Florida-Georgia border. It was fucking unbelievably hot. Unbelievably hot at the Florida-Georgia border. I don't know how it's like that. How does it get away with it? It's unbelievable. It's like a much like drier heat, but it's miserable. Oh my God. Inland Florida, it's a lot of it is like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Alligator Alcatraz is dealing with that kind of temperature. Florida sounds like hell in real life. Yeah, pretty much.
And remove illegal immigrants. 8 on Your Side reached out to Lee's office, who shared a statement saying, when someone is detained, federal law requires our office to have a privacy release form from the individual. We have not yet received it, but as soon as it arrives from Mr. Galvez, we stand ready to act swiftly to ensure his concerns are addressed. As this story unfolds, Alligator Alcatraz may be shutting down after a judge's order to dismantle some of the facility and ban detaining additional migrants. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt addressed these concerns this week.
We think it's despicable that an activist judge has inserted themselves in.
An activist judge. Remember, guys, the left was oppressing the right by taking any disagreement or any issue with their political beliefs whatsoever. Meanwhile, you have to be ousted from your position in government if you are a quote-unquote activist, aka you have left-leaning politics. Then you've got, like, half the right who are like, that's not what's happening, you're over-exaggerating. And the other half of the right that's saying, yeah, it's what's happening, it's fucking based.
This migrant detention facility to the point where DHS is now having to relocate these illegal immigrants to other detention facilities around the country.
Gianni Hunt with Magnified Voices says they are not here to tell anyone to release Mr. Galvez. They just want him to be treated fairly. I reached out to the governor's office, who referred me to ICE officials about recent claims that Mr. Galvez did not receive medical attention. ICE acknowledged my request, but I have yet to get any answers. Here outside of the State House, Mackenzie Laporte, 8 on Your Side.
Well, damn. It looks like the days of Alligator Alcatraz are numbered. But Deport Depot is on its way. How long do we think it's going to last before a local judge shuts it down? Especially considering the harm to the local economy, the harm to the local ecosystem, and many other reasons of unpopularity it's no doubt going to have. They better build that shit in a real red area of Florida if they don't want any judges to try and repeat this, basically. Anyway, folks, I feel like this is a pretty nice silver lining to all the bad news we've been getting, right? It feels like we've been dealing with this massive rainstorm of just unpleasant information and news coming out of the mainstream media lately. And now, we're getting a little bit of good news. There's starting to be a real pushback against Trump, where people are less so there's starting to be a real pushback, and it's more that people are starting to feel inspired to push back. And it's starting to get less verbal and more doing. You know, like judges are blocking unconstitutional bullshit. And they're actually succeeding at stopping it. You know, you may not be able to stop Trump, but if one of his cronies on a state level tries to pull something, you might be able to win. If you're like a judge who's got the power to say, hey, what the fuck? You can't do that here. So I'm glad to see that there is still some recourse to make America better, even when we've got Trump in office. Well, hey, if you enjoyed this segment and you want to help me out and boost the channel and the algorithm and help to support the video for totally free, mind you, then please consider leaving a like and a comment down below. Every thumbs up and every comment actually forces YouTube to boost my stuff out to more people through the algorithm, helping to grow the channel immensely. It really does help. In fact, I challenge you all to see if you can hit 1,000 likes on this video, maybe in 24 hours. I want to see if you can hit 500 comments too. Really does help a ton, and I love seeing you guys hit that goal and beat my challenge. But I don't know, maybe you can't do it this time, maybe you can, we'll see. And of course, if you want to see more from me in the future, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications, so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And if you want to see more from me on other platforms, follow my social medias linked down below, especially my fan Discord, as every Friday I host gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, and movie nights there. And it's every single week, so if you want to be a part of it and you want to hang out and vibe, make sure to join, you won't regret it. And finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio. After all, I am a smaller creator, which means, you know, YouTube's pithy 55% ad rate that they offer to creators, where they take 45%, or sorry, they take 55%, you get 45% as the creator. I wouldn't be able to do this full time with that whole system if it weren't for you guys supporting me directly. So I really appreciate your generosity and kindness. Thank you all so much. But like I said, don't feel pressured to dip into your own wallet to support me. A thumbs up is totally free and helps the channel a ton. So thank you to everybody who supports me. I appreciate it a lot, and I hope to see you again soon.